Hello, workplace warriors. Welcome back to another video. And we're considering or continuing the job search readiness series with the executive job search success stories or success strategies. And today's strategy is crisis management and why it is essential for executive job seekers to have crisis management skills. So, as we all know, executive leaders are not just expected to steer their organizations toward growth and profitability. They must also demonstrate resilience in the face of crisis. Whether dealing with economic downturns, cyber threats, public relations nightmares, or internal disruptions, the ability to manage crises is a defining characteristic of top-tier executives. For job seekers at the executive level, crisis management experience is no longer optional. It's not up for debate, guys. It's a key qualification that separates strong candidates from weaker ones. So the role of the executive in crisis situation is that leadership goes beyond strategic planning and operational oversight. Executives are responsible for guiding organizations through periods of uncertainty, maintaining stakeholder trust, and ensuring business continuity. Without crisis management skills, you as a leader may find yourself overwhelmed when adversity strikes, leading to damaging consequences for the organization and your own professional reputation. So executives are expected to anticipate potential risks before they escalate into crisis, develop and implement crisis response plans, communicate effectively with employees, investors, customers, and the media, all of your organization's stakeholders, and make tough decisions under pressure, and maintain organizational stability and morale during disruptions. So failing to demonstrate these competencies can be a deal breaker for employers seeking leaders who can protect their business interests. So I want to continue by providing you with some examples of effective crisis management in executive leadership, because if you are an executive job seeker, you want to make sure that you are able to explain and describe the experience that you've had in this area, as well as provide strong, high impact examples of that skill in action. And we all know that the best way to illustrate crisis management proficiency is by sharing real-world examples of how you have successfully navigated high-stakes situations. So here are a few scenarios that highlight executive leadership during crisis. And the first is a financial crisis turnaround. And you know that is probably every business owner, business manager, just business leader is probably one of their greatest fears. And if you just imagine stepping into a leadership role at a company on the verge of financial collapse, knowing that cash flow is dwindling, creditors are pressing for payments, and employee morale is at an all-time low. Any executive with crisis management expertise would assess the financial health of the company, identify cost-cutting measures that do not compromise core operations, and negotiate with creditors to restructure the organization's debt. For example, one CEO successfully led a company out of financial distress by implementing a phased restructuring plan that involved renegotiating supplier contracts, consolidating operations, and launching a targeted sales strategy. Within 18 months, believe it or not, the company returned to profitability. Now, I call that a win. And also a strong executive leader. And the executive leadership was widely recognized. I'm sure it was. Now, number 2, the second example is handling a public relations nightmare, which is another big fear, I'm sure, of company executives. And as an executive, you must be prepared for reputational crises, whether they stem from product failures, leadership misconduct, or unforeseen events. A classic example is how some organizations have effectively managed brand damaging incidents through transparent and proactive communication. Take the case of a tech firm facing backlash over data privacy concerns. Instead of going silent or issuing a generic apology, the company's executive team quickly acknowledged the issue, outlined corrective actions, and engaged with regulators to demonstrate compliance improvements. By owning the narrative and taking accountability, the organization was able to restore public trust and even strengthen its market position. So, yay for them. The third example is leading through organizational change. And if you've never worked you may have never worked for an organization that had a financial crisis. You may have never even worked for an organization that had a public relations crisis. But I can almost guarantee you that if you have been in the labor market for more than 3 years, probably even less these days, that your organization has had a change in leadership, whether it be at the pinnacle as a CEO or president, what have you, or if it's just in your department only, where your manager left the organization and you got a new manager. So let's look at how effective leaders would address a crisis when there's a change in or a pending change in organizational leadership, or there's been a change in organizational leadership. So we all know that mergers, acquisitions, and internal restructuring can create instability within an organization. I'm sorry. Thought I saw something on my desk. So employees may resist change because a lot of us just don't feel comfortable with change. It's the fear of that uneasy feeling about the unknown. So key talent may leave and productivity may decline if transitions are not managed properly. And an executive who has successfully led through such changes would highlight specific strategies employed, like establishing a clear communication plan and ensure transparency, providing training and resources to help employees who are left adapt, and aligning new operational strategies with company culture to minimize disruption. For instance, a VP of operations overseeing a major merger might implement a structured integration plan that includes leadership alignment sessions, employee feedback loops, and phased system consolidation. Such proactive measures can turn what could be a chaotic transition into a seamless transformation. And that's just what you want. And you'll get increased buy-in when your stakeholders see the skill that you have as an executive to manage those difficult scenarios and keep the company going. Then number 4, the fourth example would be managing a cybersecurity breach. Okay, and I know we can all relate to that these days. Not a day or sometimes not even an hour goes by that we don't hear about yet another data breach. So In this era, where data breaches can destroy customer trust overnight, executives must be prepared to handle cybersecurity crisis effectively. If a company suffers a cyber attack, the action is crucial. Taking action that is swift is crucial to mitigate damage and reassure stakeholders. And especially if you have investors, you don't want them to jump ship. So a CIO who successfully led a company through a cybersecurity breach could highlight their role in immediately securing affected systems to prevent further damage, communicating transparency with customers and regulatory bodies, and strengthening cybersecurity measures to prevent future breaches. For example, one financial services executive faced a ransomware attack that threatened to expose themselves sensitive client data, by swiftly, and I hope you heard that word, swiftly, mobilizing an incident response team, engaging cybersecurity experts, and implementing a customer support strategy. The company minimized disruption and restored operations within 48 hours. This decisive leadership not only protected the organization, but also reinforced its credibility in the market. So I call that a win. Now, there are consequences for not having crisis management skills as an executive, because executives are to be well-rounded candidates. So it's a much higher level when you're aspiring towards that executive level position. So the consequences of lacking these skills are they can inadvertently put organizations at risk if their executive does not possess these skills. And what could happen when leaders are unprepared is that you can have financial losses and you can have reputational damage. Employees can become disengaged, or there can be regulatory penalties as well. So keep that in mind, because financial losses, let's look at each one of these separately and give you more context. Financial losses, that's an area where if there's poor crisis handling, then it could result in plummeting stock prices, loss of revenue, and costly legal battles. Then if your area of need is reputational damage, if you don't possess the qualities and you had reputational damage, then inadequate responses to crisis can erode consumer and investor confidence, sometimes irreversibly, and that is so true in business, especially in today's business environment. Then there's employee disengagement that can take place, because we know that a lack of leadership during crisis can lead to uncertainty, low morale, and high turnover rates. And last but not least, if you're not keeping up with regulatory requirements, then you could find yourself having to pay regulatory penalties for what you didn't know, what you should have known. So mishandling compliance-related crises can result in legal repercussions and hefty fines. So for job seekers at the executive level, not having a proven record in crisis management, it can limit your career opportunities that you would be seriously considered for. And employers need to prioritize candidates who have demonstrated the ability to navigate challenges, and the lack of such experience may be viewed as a liability. And you yourself do not, over all people, do not want to, I guess, portray yourself in a manner that would make anyone think that you are a liability. So make crisis management a part of your executive brand. I can't stress that to you enough, because you want to position yourself as a strong candidate or executive, or candidate for an executive role. And it's essential to show your crisis management experience on your resume, LinkedIn profile, and interviews. And here's how you do it. On your resume, include bullet points under each role that highlight specific roles you managed. Quantify the impact of your actions. For instance, led financial restructuring that ended company debt, that reduced company debt by 30% in 12 months. Then, go on LinkedIn, the world's most popular online networking platform. Share thought leadership content about crisis management strategies and highlight success stories in your professional summary. Then, during your interview is really your time to shine. So be prepared with the STAR interview participation method, or as a job candidate. So what you want to do is, during an interview, you want to be prepared to discuss that methodology, whether it's STAR or some other format. But if you feel comfortable with it, you can always demonstrate your crisis management skills by focusing on the situation, the task that was your responsibility to help to resolve the crisis that is at hand, the action that you took, that you were asked to take, and the action that you took. Did you go above and beyond, and then the result. And that's self-explanatory. You definitely want the crisis to be behind you. People kind of dust themselves off. Hopefully, no reports of injuries or anything like that during a crisis. And you've done an excellent job by describing the situation. And then demonstrate a positive, proactive mindset by discussing learned lessons and how they shaped your leadership philosophy. So just know that crisis management is not just a skill, it's a competency, it's a leadership imperative. And executives who can confidently lead organizations through adversity are in high demand, very high demand. Whether it's financial instability, public relations crises, cybersecurity threats, or organizational change, the ability to manage high-pressure situations effectively distinguishes elite leaders from the rest. And for executive-level job seekers, showcasing crisis management expertise can be the deciding factor in landing a coveted leadership position. So by sharing compelling stories of resilience, strategic thinking, and decisive action, you can position yourself as the leader that your organization or potential organization needs in today's unpredictable business landscape. And let's see, another thing is that finally, as you navigate your executive job search, remember, the best leaders are not those who avoid crisis, but those who rise to the occasion and transformed challenges into opportunities for growth. So make your crisis management experience a central part of your executive brand, and you'll not only stand out in the job market, you'll command the respect and trust of those you lead. So there you have it. I'm on this mission to help you live your very best career life, regardless of the level of your career search, from entry level all the way up to executive. I'm here to help you. And if you got value from this content, I'm going to ask you to smash the like button, share this content with your networks, and to help me to reach and help more people. And then make sure you subscribe. I would love to have you be a part of the HR by Nnamtique group, and or fold, as I like to refer to you. And also come back for other videos. I release a video anywhere from 3 to 7 times a week. So there's plenty of opportunity. There's plenty of knowledge that I'm sharing with you there. And leave me a comment or a question in the comment section, or wherever you're watching. Please leave a comment or a question about the job search process in that person's in my comment section. Y'all, it's been a long week. This time change has gotten me this time for spring, plus my allergies have been acting up, and I've been having trouble sleeping, so I apologize. I am beat, but I had to come on here and share that information with you. And I'll be sharing on the community tab the information about my upcoming free training. I would be so honored if you would join us, and I will be sharing that information with you in the link below as well. So until next time, career success to you. Bye-bye.